Today I'm going to talk to you about the structured sports for youth athletes and how it actually benefits them comparative to playing sports on more of a recreational level. And my name is Mazzoni, so let's get into it. Okay. So there's research out there that suggests that really, if there is more structure to youth recreational sport programs, specifically going down to even a lower level, like even age of 2 comparative to age 5, because like I know I started sports at age of 5. It's really trying to capitalize on how successful sports are and how much like improvement they have on the youth. So here you guys can see this like little quote here. Really is basically saying there's over 45 million youth athletes participating across the United States in some form or fashion, whether it's like t-ball, baseball, soccer, basketball, any of those. So really that's quite a big like proportion of young athletes. So there are findings that suggest that most program leaders believe their job is to keep the program participants safe and help them have fun. Of course, kids want to have fun on whatever sport they're doing, but things that are really important is like knowing that kids are actually getting something out of the sport they're playing. Whether you're actually teaching a 3-year-old what respect means, and that is the word of the week, or you're teaching kids the foundations of teamwork, like, hey, you don't always have to be the one to score a goal. You don't always have to be the one to score a run in t-ball. Just because you don't score doesn't mean that it doesn't help. You are a part of a team, and that's what these studies are trying to suggest. You want to make it go past just having fun. Structure in youth sports is actually designed to help kids develop as better young adults, and then even further on into their adult lives. So, can you have too much structure? That's a question. Here you guys can see this lovely visual. I'm assuming is a very passionate coach, probably giving very constructive instructions to his team. But yes, you can end up having too much structure, and the issue is some kids aren't really going to be receptive to that, so there is a really fine line. So here you guys can see a better picture where you see a coach. Obviously, he's like a part of like this little softball game or practice, but the thing that is most important here for this picture is the parents in the back as well, because parents are also important for structure for youth athletes. One of the big things to take a look at is the feedback in your family. Your family helps encourage these topics that these kids are learning. So whether you're focusing on respect or teamwork, topics such as that, a lot of times when a kid is done with practice, they don't work on it beyond that. So this is on top of starting students or young athletes earlier than age of 5, because I know my first time playing sports, I was 5 playing soccer out in California. I still remember I had a really cute little shirt. But I actually have had the chance to participate with kids as young as 2 and teaching them how to play soccer. And man, is it adorable watching a 2-year-old try to understand the word respect. Syllables work really good. But one of the things on top of, if I'm helping, like as a coach, other little kids, how to understand structure and improve their sporting experience, one of the key things to help it actually stick is the family themselves. So how do you know if you're headed in the right direction in reference to helping them? So first things first, is this structure of whatever sport you're playing age appropriate? Obviously, a 2-year-old isn't going to understand the full extent of the word respect. So you can use things like be nice or listen with your listening ears to the adults in your life. or try your best. It also accounts like with self-respect. So that is also altering it. As kids get older, you can actually use more common terms to help them understand better. This is better than just playing regular recreational sports leagues, because it's telling you that there's a point to whatever sport you're playing. It's not just to have fun, it's also to learn actual life skills. Second thing, does the athlete feel better after practice or a game? So like when you go to pick your kid up after practice, so forth, and you say, "Oh, how'd it go today, bud?" You want them to actually feel like they learned something about it, or if they had fun. Because if not, then it's still supposed to be fun, but really you want it to have a lasting impact. Do they want to come back? Obviously, this kind of builds off of, do they feel better after the practice or the game? You want to create lifelong people that want to participate in these sports. They don't necessarily have to play, but as far as a lifelong practicer goes, you really want them to feel like the stuff they learned as a little kid carries on into adulthood. I know there are things I learned as a little kid playing little soccer with missing my front teeth that I still think about today, and that's like teamwork. Specifically, if I'm not the one that scores a goal, it doesn't mean I'm losing. It just means my other teammate is helping me out. Also, is there predictable improvement? So if you're adding further structure into these sporting examples, you want to see physical improvement as time goes on, whether it's at a 5-week session, 10-week session, or even if you take a step back and look at it at a couple years in advance. So, obviously, if the word of the day is respect, in a couple weeks, you want to be able to revisit that and hey, are you showing me respect? Are you listening with your listening ears? Are you being nice? Are you participating? Are you being good to yourself? Stuff like that. So on top of structure, one of the key things that really doesn't get brought up a lot is that the people that are making these camps, they really need to, not necessarily just camps, but leagues as well, or teams, anything that is, they're organizing the sports teams, that they really need to make it available for not just the people that can afford it, but also people that can't, focusing on donations, scholarships. I know there's quite a few leagues that even offer to pay people via volunteer hours. So that can be really helpful also. So one of the last things here is that where it says the frontline staff, they need to use a transfer of learning. This is really a critical function. But basically, you want the goal of your organization to be able to have something to go from paper to actual application. So if you are practicing and adding this transfer of learning or adding curriculum, you really want to see some growth. But ultimately, here are my references. Thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful day.